Okay, in this tutorial, we're going to use AutoCAD, the dynamic blocks and the attributes, and we're going to just look at a quick tip to see how we can scale tags, objects, really anything that we create with a block. So we're going to use this one as our example. This is the one we started with from our last tutorial. This is the one where we had our different options for visibility. And then the result that we're going to have is this right here. So I hinted at this last week, but basically we added in this little extra arrow right here. So let's say we were working with a 1/4 inch plan. So right now we've got it at 1/4 inch, but then we decide that the plan changes to, let's say, 1/8 inch. So we click that, and then we've automatically changed it just like that. And we can look at it here in the properties. 9 inches is what we got. And I gave you this as kind of like our go by. All right, so how do we do that? So let's go into our block editor, and we're going to use this right here. So we're going to go to our parameters, and we're going to look for linear right there. So before we do linear, we're going to draw a line. And I like to put it right in the middle, right there. And then I'm just going to do 1 inch because that's how our tags always start with. So 1 inch right there, that little line right there. So then I come in here, I click on linear, click on that, and then I just pull it out of the way just so that it's out of the way. For the dimension, if we go on our properties, we go to where it says number of grips, and let's just make it 1 like that. And then we're done with that line. So we can just erase that line. We don't need it. We just wanted this distance right here. So now we go to our actions and we're going to scale. So we click on that, and then it says click on the objects. We click on the objects, we hit enter, and then that should be it right there. So let's just go, let's test it and see. So this is our object. Now we've got our little triangle here. We see it shows 1 inch in the properties box. And then we could just go 4.5, and then we've got it. And that's it. So the only thing that you might run into, like I said, especially if you've got one with visibility like this, is let's turn on the custom text. And we see right here that the custom text didn't scale. So we want to fix that. So let's just close our test block, come in here. So now let's go to our visibility up top, and let's do custom text. Whatever your option is where you show all the text, which one of your visibility states shows everything, that's the one that you really want to use, because otherwise you're going to kind of run into this issue. So you notice when we turn this one on, we no longer have our distance right here. So what we want to do is we're going to go to room name and number, and we're just going to click this guy here, visibility mode, and it just shows everything just like that. So then we'll click on our scale, right click on it, action set, and then we're just going to say modify. So modify, you notice it says select object to add. So we're going to click on that right there, hit enter, and then that should work. So let's just test it and see. So let's go back, test block. So now we're going to turn on our custom text just like that. It didn't work. Why didn't it work? All right, so there was one extra step that we had to do. So let's go back to our custom text. And that's why I say if you start with the one where it shows everything, then it's really going to be much better. So custom text. But that's why we do it like this, because we see the things that you got to change afterward. So for this right here, we're in custom text on. We're going to make visible this right here. So then when we go back to that one, turn that off. Then we look like that. And then we go back to that one. Now we've got that visible. So let's test it, see if we did correctly. So we've got our little triangle there, And then when we change it to custom text on, we've still got our triangle and we can scale everything. So let's close the block, save it, save the changes. Remember, we always have to sync it. So we updated it. So now we've got this. So we can say 4.5 like that. Let's change it to custom text on. And we've still got it. So then we could say, let's say we've got to go to that scale. And really, you could go to any scale that you want to. Now, if you notice, sometimes you might get lazy. And if you look at that, you've got like crazy fractions in there. That's why I always type it in just to get the exact. But if you want to, you can add increments. So that'll be the last thing that we'll look at for this. So let's go back to an inch, click on it, edit, block editor. So when we click on our distance here, if we go over to the side in the properties, you notice it says distance type, distance minimum, distance maximum. So you could set this to anything. I always do increment and it stays in feet and inches. So I wish you could do percentages, but it only gives you feet and inches, best I can tell. So let's say increment. Let's do 0.25. That way it keeps it easy fractions. And then you could say, well, you're probably not going to have text bigger than, I don't know, 18 inches. If you do, then you could just come in here and change it. But so we'll set it like that, because if you don't do the maximum, if you just delete that, you see how it just goes on forever. And that's just kind of annoying. Every time you click on it, you see all these marks. So let's just do 18 inches, close it and save. And then when you click on it, you see how you get all those little marks. I would just rather have it small. But then, as you see, as you scale it, it's just nice and neat. For this, with room tags, it's not really necessary because, like I said, I just type in the number that I want and it gives you what you need, but just showing you the options. All right, well, that's it. So super simple, little quick scale. You can use this for any kind of block, but I was just showing you on a room tag just so that you could get that. In the next episode, we're going to keep going with attributes and blocks, but we're going to learn about the rotation parameter. So let's look at this guy right here. So let's say we've got an elevation marker like this, and we put it in there, but the arrows, we don't want to just have to grab it, rotate it, explode it, whatever. So instead, we're going to make a little rotation mark to where you could go at 90 degrees like this, or you could just press, turn it off ortho, and then you could go at any amount like that. And as we mentioned, we could set increments for it to where it just goes every 45, but I kind of like it to where you've got that. So we'll look at that on the next episode.